Okay, Evandro, turn on the microphone.
Hear me?
Okay, now we can hear you. Thanks to everybody. Normally there will be Claudia Casali as the director of the Faenza, MIC Faenza. But today there are full board of artists, so she cannot attend it. Anyway, I'm Marco Maria Polloniato, and I will try my best to guide you through this talk. I won't say more about me. I'm very glad to meet everyone, and obviously we'll be glad to meet you in person, to meet you at the Faenza prize in the inauguration opening, in June. So now it's time to start with the first artist. It's from Italy, Evandro Gabrieli, and well, as many other competition, he attended also exhibition, especially in Italy, but not only. He exhibited also in various competition abroad, and is always looking for this paying attention to the surface of the works that he presents. So I think that we can start with your presentation. Thank you, Evandro. The board is yours.
Ciao Marco, hi everybody. It's a pleasure to stay here today and to meet the other artists. And I try to do my best with my English. First of all, I would like to thank the jury that selected my works in the most important contemporary ceramic competition. And we can start for the first image. Okay, the next, please. Okay, when I started making ceramic, I started with the functional ceramics, but I didn't feel comfortable and I quickly moved to the installation works. Next image, please. During that time, I was called to an exhibition about the sacred symbols called Encrypta. I tried to imagine how the first kind of holy grail could look like. Very similar to natural clay, simple, not shiny, not gold, and I made this piece work that you see in this slide. We can go to the next, please. After that, I was called to another exhibition about the water. I think it's a bit contradiction to try to work with the clay to explain water. So I started to imagine the chemical formula of water and I connected the graphic representation of the water in the ceramic sculpture. We can go to the next. After doing this kind of work, I understand the very close relationship between me and the childhood memories on the sea. A moment in which we discover the world without fear and anxiety. Next, please. Oh, you have to know that I love the art photography. This photo was taken by Franco Fontana, an important Italian photographer. In this photo, you can see the line on the road, like a Rothko painting. Absolute, minimal, incredible. Sometimes I practice photography, and I think there is a very close connection between ceramics and photography. Like in a photograph, the world begins to exist when we click the camera button. But if you ask that people to take a picture of the same things, you get 10 different photos. The reason is that everyone has a specific idea of the reality. But to take a good picture of a building, for example, you have to feel the building inside you. We can go to the next. I made this work in Faenza during an artist residency, when I relate the photo of Franco Fontana on the asphalt to the asphalt mark are a symbol like the road we take in our life. We can go to the next. In the other work, I go back to the theme of the sea. In this work, I try to find the organic life and the movement. We can go to the sea, to the next. So in this kind of work, I try to forget the rigidity of the ceramic material. I would like to find the life, the movement. I like to lose the hardness of the ceramic material. When people look at this, usually tell me they see flowers, mushrooms, or marine plants. Next, please. Instead, this type of building is found in a small part of the Italian coast. They are called trabucchi, and this is another connection of the theme of the sea that fascinated me. We can go to the next, please. In this kind of architectural works, time seems lost. The type of building is lifeless. The ceramic material dialogues with the wooden material, but everything is lost, like when we grow up and lose the fantastic ability to invent stories. I feel half in the sea and half on the coast. I feel the fear to go into the open sea, like the adult life. We can go to the next. At last, I understand that my ceramic works, when I do my ceramics work, I talk about my personal stories. We arrive at the last work selected for the Faenza Prize. The title is Rescue Me. This image give you back the true intention of these works. We can go to the next. And next again. The symbol that I choose is the boy and the morning ballads. I try to explore the anxiety and fears that I experience in the adult life. I try to find fixed point that I find only ceramics, a place where I can be myself, feeling safe, like a boat stopping in a port and ready to leave for another trip. All these connections are very much linked to my childhood memories when I live in the summer in my grandparents' house, a carefree time of life in contrast to the adult life. And this is all.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Evandro, for your presentation and for sharing such intense thoughts about your memories and what is a part of your life and what you put into your works. We'll wait at the end for any question by anyone following us. So stay tuned for more.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay, and after the works of Evandro, so intense and which resemble some ideas that are also connected with our contemporaneity, with our present and what is happening around, for example, the Mediterranean Sea. We go through another artist, Migl Janušait, and hello, Migl.
Hello.
Hello, thanks for being with us.
Thank
With
you.
with MIGLE, we go to Lithuania, or I don't know the English name, but
Yeah, Lithuania is okay, but
okay.
Lithuania is also cool.
Thank you. Sorry for
No
the
worries.
inconvenience. Anyway, your work is not only you don't deal only with the ceramic, because you had a strong connection also with the other type of art, with the performance, and also if you share part of your life with the fashion work, with the fashion world, sorry.
Yeah.
And you also have your own brand between, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And but you're working with a different attitude, and as far as we can tell from your works, you're also connected with your memory, with childhood, with all different type of
Yeah. Agree.
yeah. Okay, but anyway, the board is yours, so let's start with your presentation.
Thank you. So, yeah. So, as Marco said, I worked in the fashion field for quite a long time, and I switched to ceramics and sculpture in general, like a few years ago only. So here I will present some of my works in form of ceramics. And the first one is incubation. So this is the most abstract sculpture of the ones that I'm going to present today. So this is a nine pieces modular sculpture that I can put in different ways, and I am exploring the idea of development itself. It's like an egg or a stone or any kind of form that, you know, like this resembles me of how biological systems are developing, but in general also how people are incubating and becoming as they are. So this is what's the idea behind this this sculpture. And can we go forward? And this is the surface that I came up with. So I was just experimenting on how can I do different textures to reach the result, and that's what I got here. But it's abstract, so it's nothing really much to say. So we can move forward to the other one. And this is also the 5 ceramic sculptures that I call the birth. So I hand built the form of a baby and then casted it and then tattooed it. So what I want to say here is that the human being is born pure and unaffected with any of beliefs, of traditions, of something. It's just as it is, the pure human form. And then I put tattoos on it. Tattoos has a lot of meaning in themselves. And then like tattoo can have a magical meaning or the belonging to some society, like yakuza or some mafia stuff. And then you put these tattoos with such a strong meaning behind them on the pure baby. I think it raises good questions of how we develop as people, and how the society, the traditions, the expectations of others I don't know, sticks into us, and how we becoming a persons as we are. And can we go forward? So this is a little closer look to one of the babies, and all of them has a belly button, and the official way of expositioning them is, you know, they have a wire in the belly button and then they are hanging from the ceiling. So I wanted to make it look like just coming from the mother, and then but they are already tattooed with all a lot of meanings. Yeah, and can we go to the next one? So here I'm starting, I will talk about few of my sculptures that my most recent works. I'm generally mostly interested in figurative sculpture and figurative ceramics, and I really like realism. So a lot of things that I create resembles people, humanity, feelings, psychology, and I want to usually to express myself somehow about the feelings, but through the human form. So the most recent of my works is the series of sculptures that I call Childhood Frontline. And at least here in East Europe, we really feel at the doorstep of war, and it is really affecting me and my environment. But I'm contemplating the idea of how children in this unresolved conflicts and wars are living their lives, and that children themselves should be happy and have fun, but then the bombs are falling around and there are a lot of explosions and murders and people dying. So how this would affect their childhood. So the first sculpture is Thin White Line. It's four boys' busts connected with a thin white thread, and this thin white thread symbolizes the hope in places that there might be no hope left. Can we go forward? So this is some details of the work. As you see, the guys are not very happy, and I imagine you couldn't be in the situations. Next one, please. The other one is Blinding Flash. So you can see the standing boy with a golden hand covering the eyes, and it could be that he is covering the eyes from the sun, but also it could be covering eyes from the explosion or some flash from air bombings or whatever. The next one, please. This is a girl crying in pink tears. So we have a saying in Lithuania that seeing life through the pink glasses. So with this sculpture, I felt like I'm losing my pink glasses, and all the pink inside me is falling apart, and that my inner child has to grow up, and now I have to face the real world and see as it is, and it is not pink anymore. Okay, and the next one, and this is the work that was selected for Faenza Prize, Childhood Games. So from afar, it looks like a cute little girl is playing with colors, drawing casual, usual child drawing on herself. But if you would look closer, you could see between stars and heart shapes, you can see falling bombs and smoke and airplanes coming. So I wanted to express the way of how children are playing in the areas of war, and it's not only in Europe but everywhere around the world, because we have so many conflicts and children are still being born and being raised and are affected. So I'm really interested in the subject, and it actually terrifies me a lot. So I guess that's it.
Well, thank you very much, Migl. It was a very colorful but meaningful presentation, because you dealt with different type of works, different from abstract to figurative, and especially connected with our present, with all the good and bad things that are happening around the world. So thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you.
Let's wait for any other question that will come at the end. And now it's time for Nathalie Kehrli. Welcome to the talk. You have to turn on your microphone. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Okay.
Nathalie Kehrli from...
You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you
Okay.
from
Okay.
Switzerland, but also very connected to Italy.
I'm living.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm living in Italy
exactly. So
since 35 years.
let's say
Okay.
that you know quite well even this environment.
Yes,
Anyway, your works in the past, obviously, your also your study and your job was connected, especially with the designing things for different factories, different some other activities, and the board is yours. So let's wait for your presentation.
Okay, so hello everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer of the 63rd Premio Faenza to selecting my work and give us the opportunity of this talk. So as you said, I'm a ceramist and designer. I studied first in Switzerland, in Vevey, and then after at DZI, it's a design school university in Faenza in Italy, where I specialized in ceramic product design. And I'm collaborating with ceramic industry and workshop. I'm currently pursuing an artistic approach with the ceramic medium. Please, can we go to the next slide? Thank you. Since 2021, I have created a series of contenitori di memoria, so memory containers. And the work is to commemorate the disappearance of the Alpine glacier and the entropy of the ice and the change that result. The shape of these memory containers attempts to capture a moment in the constant transformation of the landscape by the erosion. So the technique I use, it's a drawing with the wheel, and then I model, it's a free working, and then I use terracotta and gob and oxide and glaze fired at low temperature of 980 degrees. Please, can we go to the next? Okay, Chrysalis collection. This work is a continuation of a formal approach I began in 2021. It's born from a reflection on transformation, on evolution, the passage from one state to another, trying to capture again a movement, a fragment of trace, the imprint of the memory of a gesture fixed in the clay. These cocoon are modeled with wheel throwing and slab, and they are deformed and engraved with a series of imprecise gesture to emphasize their fragility. So I push the material to breaking point during the work and the drying and the firing. Chrysalis is the metamorphosis to pass to a later state. So please, the next slide. So decomposition series. These two pieces are part of the decomposition series begun at the end of 2023. It's a reinterpretation or layer of decomposing wood. In this case, I'm using the technique of extrusion, mixing different clay. As you see on the left, I have mixed 3 types of clay and fired at 1250. So you have melted point on some clay. So it's decomposing and to increase the decomposition. And on the right, you have a porcelain and black stoneware. So also here you have a different kind of shrinking and decomposition. Please go to the next slide. So this is a detail of the artwork decomposition installation, which is for the 63 Faenza Prize exhibition. Decomposition, it's a composition of laying element. By mixing different clay, I push the material to the extremes again playing with the random deformation and the transformation of the clay during the firing. So as you can see on the left, so those are not yet under construction. And on the right is after firing. So you can see the big difference and the transformation. I use also some, in here I have used different porcelain and different stoneware, and also again the red clay, so the terracotta, and oxide and dyed and transparent glaze to increase the contrast between the matte and gloss. And I fired at 1250 degrees. Please, the next slide. Thank you. So this is what I will present again for Faenza. Decomposition, the installation is made of 4 modules with measuring approximately 80 centimeter by 62 and height 13. And as I said earlier, it's a reinterpret the layer of decaying wood. The creative process of assembling the extruded clay elements become a meditation for me. It's an act of balance between the elements. Then after firing with the shrinkage during the drying process, and after the firing, I emphasize at cracking, deformation, dislocation, fusion, and the creation of new balance between stability and instability. These 4 modules are at different stage of decomposition and deconstruction, because you cannot control everything. And perhaps it's a metaphor for life. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Nathalie, for your presentation. Thank you for sharing your ideas, your connection, obviously, from these straight lines that become something else, that deals with the stability, instability, with transformation, and this decomposition that is always moving to something new. So thanks a lot, and let's wait at the end for some questions. And then now it's time to move to Eveline Kieskamp from Netherlands. Hello, Eveline.
Yes. Hello.
Nice to
Hello,
see you.
everyone.
Hello.
Thanks.
And with Eveline, we'll arrive to another approach to the clay figurative style, since she deals mostly with sculpture, with the subjects are mostly women, and they are all connected with this morbid approach and this figurative style that deals also with the past, with roots, but let's hear from Eveline her presentation.
Thanks, Marco. Hello, everyone. First of all, I'm very happy that my work has been chosen for the ceramics competition. And thanks to the jury for this opportunity. Now, my name is Eveline Kieskamp, and I've been working as a ceramic artist since 2018. Before that, I was working as an artist specialized in wood and fabric, but always searching for the right materials to express my ideas. In 2016, a friend introduced me to clay, and I immediately felt a connection with the clay. That's when I decided to learn more about ceramics. With my work, I always look for a technical challenge, but I also want to tell a story. For me, ceramics is a way to express myself. By intertwining personal themes with universal themes, I invite the viewer to look beyond the surface, discovering the interplay of resilience, beauty, and fragility. So I want to search for a dialogue between my feelings, the past, and the present, so you can see in the work. These first pieces are very important to me. These were the first 2 sculptures I made on this size, and with these details. I love history, and during COVID-19, I finally had time to read more, including the Wolf Hall trilogy by Hilary Mantel. Life at the English court inspired me to reflect on my own feelings during COVID-19, especially the feeling of being trapped. I chose to create sculptures of Queen Elizabeth on the left side and Anne Boleyn at the right side. Elizabeth I died from lead poisoning because at that time pale skin was considered beautiful. It's unbelievable that the desire to be ever more beautiful ultimately becomes your cause of death. I wanted to show this in my sculpture through her stiff posture, white face, and a little white powder on her hands. Next, please. At the same time, I started experimenting with terra sigillata. I was looking for a glaze that would keep fine details visible and would be more sustainable, requiring only one firing and using the clay slip as a base. After a lot of research, I took lessons from the ceramic artist Anton Reinders, from the Netherlands also, who specialized in terra sigillata. My sculptures are built up in strips from about 10 centimeter high, first with clay with a lot of grog, and after that I refine with a clay with small grog. And I create lace patterns using pastry piping bags and also make molds from lace to use in my work. After creating sculptures of English historical figures, I became interested in people from the Dutch royal family. I discovered the story of Archduchess Clara Isabella Eugenia. I always research my subject and try to give their stories a new meaning. Clara, you see in this artwork, came from Spain to the Netherlands to bring forth healthy offsprings. I represented this by giving her a belt with a lot of children's heads. So I want to show that this task was one that she always felt like a belt around her. In this piece, I experimented for the first time with cutting through the sculpture. I wanted to show more of the inside because an impressive outside doesn't always reflect what's inside. I like the idea of exposing the raw inner clay and the construction process. Next, please. In this piece, I explored the cutting technique further and gave more meaning to the inside. In the last 2 years, I started working on sculptures of the 11 daughters and 4 wives of William of Orange. I believe these women deserve more attention in the history. This piece is about Emilia of Nassau. She was raised as a Protestant, daughter of William of Orange, but she married a Catholic. In Europe, this has caused a lot of conflicts for a long time in history. So this caused problems in their marriage and in their family. I reflected this in the sculpture by making the outside rich and decorative with a lace collar, while the inside of her head shows us the conflict, using Catholic crosses on the one side, you can see it on the right picture, and Protestant crosses on the other side. The blue color inside represents the connection between the two religions, as they meet in the spiritual world. Emilia was brave and stood up for her beliefs, making difficult choices that others avoided. Next, please. The third piece I want to share is about Louisa Juliana, a daughter of William of Orange. When I saw a painting of her as a young girl, I was struck by how much she looked like an adult. This made me think about my own childhood and about how, even today, children on social media are often dressed and presented like little adults. This inspires me to create a sculpture of a girl, but I cut it into sections and displayed it like building blocks. It symbolizes how parents sometimes try to shape their children into what they want, rather than allowing them to grow naturally. The title, Lost Childhood, reflects this idea. When parents control every aspect of their children's life, the child loses the chance to develop freely. Next, please. The final piece is the one chosen for the competition. It tells the story of Louise de Coligny, the fourth and last wife of William of Orange. A print by the Dutch artist Willem Jacobsen Delft inspired me to make this work. Before marrying William, Louise de Coligny was already a widow. Less than a year after their wedding, William was killed. She wore black mourning clothes for the rest of her life. So I chose to glaze her black with only the color in the boxing gloves. On the edge of the oval form, it says, "Let thy kingdom come." That's a line from the Lord's Prayer. Louise remains strong in her faith and continues to fight for her family and her belief. That's why I added the boxing gloves and colored it heavenly blue. I'm very happy with the soft shine that the terra sigillata has given this sculpture. That's why I'm so proud that this work has been chosen. For me, it brings together both the technical aspects of working with clay and glaze and the deeper meaning behind the piece. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eveline. Thank you for sharing your works and all the ideas that are behind your you chose to deal especially with the history of women, and this is something important since everybody knows that women always stood a step back during history, and it's obviously they would deserve a better time. We hopefully try to do our best to make it happen together. And it's very important also that your works have a different technical approach. So you had to experiment with different types of clay, terra sigillata, etc. And also the symbolical details such as the color, the importance of one color that represents any different culture or different religion in this case. So thanks again.
Thanks.
And now it's time to move along. Let's welcome Iosifina Kosma from Greece.
Hello.
Hello, Iosifina.
Hello to everyone.
Thanks for being here. And very quickly, the board is yours, but let me just add a few words about your life. You studied architecture, and especially you had a lot to move from these studies. And if we think about building like a big sculpture, well, your works are quite different, let's say, because most of your works deals with not straight lines as we think about buildings, but with a curve. So something very smooth, so let's hear from you, from your presentation. The board is yours.
Thank you, Marco, and hello to everyone. I would like to thank first of all the jury for selecting my work, and all the people who are working behind the scenes for the competition, and I'm very proud and happy to be part of it. So let's start. Being also an architect has played a crucial role into how I have evolved in my work in ceramics. The composition of volumes and the structure of a piece are an important consideration in my art. My work consists of abstract forms, aiming to capture a sense of existence. I want them to be organic, to convey feelings of completeness and harmony. In these slides, you can see a piece that is part of a series that I've been working on for the past years, and the title of the series is Flow, because my work with clay always involves the flow of a curve, or a cavity. This alludes to a womb, a nest, a shell, or an embrace and the warmth it provides. Harmony is to be found in the balance between opposites, the inner and the outer, the concave and the convex, the bright and the dark. Next one, please. In some pieces, I use more dynamic shapes, such as the spiral. This geometrical form alludes to an endless flow of time and the eternal circle of life. The title of this work was Desert Flower, and I wanted to achieve the lightness and the fragility of a flower by using a hard material such as a fired clay. Nature has always been a source of inspiration for me. Although I live in a big city, I often escape on a journey and take long walks in the countryside. Everything I see or I listen to can be a source of inspiration for me. I work mostly on instincts and feelings rather than thoughts. Next, please. In this form, I was inspired by water vortices and their circular motion. Here, the power and the movement I seek are expressed in a different way, more introvert. I emphasize the circular motion with the texture of the surface. Next, please. In this piece, I introduced the shape of a cone because I believe that it is a powerful geometrical shape. It is as if the whole outside space is sucked on a black hole. I have added the picture with myself so that you can see the size of the piece. This work was made to be exhibited in the Archaeological Museum of Ancient Olympia, which was one of the holiest places in ancient Greece, possessing a very unique energy. So I wanted to have a powerful and dynamic work. Next one, please. Here the form was evolved into a more extravert and fluent shape. I was also inspired by the flow of water. I wanted to explore movement and the interplay of light. While I create pieces of various sizes, I'm especially fond of large scale. Large-scale works interact more with the surrounding space. I work with hand-building technique using coils and slabs. Sometimes part of the pieces are made separately, and when they are dry enough so that they can retain their shape, I join them together. Next, please. This work was a piece I made for the first Biennale of Contemporary Ceramics in Greece that took place in the island of Santorini this summer. It is inspired by flowers and plants, but I do not aim to create a realistic representation of something concrete. Rhythm and fluidity are essential. In order to achieve grace and finesse, I rest the main volume, allowing it to rest on 3 thin angles. Next one, please. This work is the one I submitted for the Faenza competition. It was again made in the same spirit than the previous one. I want to evolve a dynamic shape with its movement unfolding in space, reminiscent to the ripple of a plan or a sea wave. I want my form to be at the same time dynamic and supple, powerful and gentle, I hope that those who will see the piece from close will feel the vital energy I seek to express with this form. This is for now, and I hope to see all of you in Faenza.
Thank you. Thank you, Iosifina, for sharing with us your art, especially for this attitude that comes from your hands, since everything is hand-built, and the inspiration that nature had in your work. And what you had done is obviously something that, since it's quite abstract, can allow people, let's say, that allow people to think about it and interpret in different direction. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And let's welcome another artist. Let's welcome Valdas Kurklietis from Lithuania. Hello, Valdas.
Hello.
Hello. Nice to meet you. Nice to hear you. And with Valdas, again, we'll move to something that some different works that start from figurative, but obviously have a different meaning. And let's hear from you. The board is yours.
Okay, thank you. Hello, I am very happy to participate in this edition of the Premio Faenza, and I would like to thank the organizers for the opportunity to present my work. Exactly, I come from Lithuania, but for the past 10 years, I have been living and working in Stockholm, in Sweden. Next, please. First, I want to tell you about my previous works. I have always been interested in the relationship between people and the environment. In many of my works, I use the human head as a symbol. This is how I express my experiences, fears, and feelings. Next, please. Global warming and the geopolitical situation have a major impact of my works. There is a strong sense of instability or even collapse fears. These are my personal fears for the future. Next, please. When I moved to Sweden, many of the colors and shapes of northern nature began to dominate in my works, such as rocks, stones, melting ice. Next, please. This is a work about the struggle against mass production, examining the opposition between craft and industrial production. Next, please. This is my current work, what is participating in the Faenza exhibition. The name of this work is The Masks. When we say wearing a mask in the context of mood or emotion, we are usually referring to the way people hide their true feelings behind a certain image. It can be a mask of, for example, a mask of joy when someone appears happy on the outside, but sad on the inside. A mask of calm when some appears focused, even though they are scared on the inside. A mask of coldness when some hides their emotion and appears indifferent. A mask of strength when someone appears strong and unbreakable, even though they may be fragile on the inside. People wear emotional masks for the variety of reasons: to protect themselves, not to impress others, to maintain their status, or simply to conform to social norms. And next, please. I used mirrors in the pieces. This allows the viewer to find more interesting aspects and also see their own reflection in it. That's all.
Thank you very much, Valdas. Thank you for sharing your work.
Thank you.
And as we saw and as we know, your works obviously had this attitude towards human nature and the act of summarize somehow what's happening around the world as you talk about political events and environmental that of course around the globe, and also the fact that you used such different type of only dealing with for example, with the head, the human head, or the mask, which is the part of the body that express everything when we deal with people. And so we concentrate especially with the eyes, with some movement, and so it's very interesting also to see those masks with the mirrors, which you already had in some other works, and their connection that can create with the public. So thanks again. Let's wait for some other question eventually at the end, and let's welcome another artist. Thank you, Valdas. Now it's time to hear from Claire Lindner, French artist. Hello, Claire.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you very much for waiting. And here we are with your presentation. Let's say just a few words about you and about your attitude. I mean, you had this long series of works that are inspired by nature, but they are very different, even very colorful, very and the movement that they allow you to express different shapes resemble also, for example, what are the fire itself, but also what is in the nature around inside the forest, or even near our house in the little grass that we have in front of our home. So The board is yours. Thanks again.
Thank you. So to understand the evolution of my creative path, I need to take you back to my first encounter with clay when I was an art student back in 2006. So when you handle a soft slab of clay, matter stretches like skin, leaving all of the stretch marks and the folds visible on the surface. It gives it a very strange sensation of being alive. So I started to think of ways to build my artwork that would enable me to push the limits of the material and treating it like an extension of the body. I observed the forms that emerged from the process and how they could be related to the living. I was also exploring our connection with the organic world. So you can see on this image that the stretched fine lines on the porcelain surface increase the perception of the movement contained within the piece. So next, please. Around 2010, I started working on the theme of clouds. Clouds are constantly moving and changing form, and they have this incredible ability to trigger our imagination. So how could I express the idea of constant metamorphosis and lightness in clay, which is heavy, fixed, and constantly dragged by gravity? It felt very paradoxical to use ceramic to express this idea, but at the same time, I was intrigued by the outcome of this research. It could only become something different, something new. And when you look at clouds, the perception of its volume changes according to the positioning of the sun. And so the way light interacts with the form gave me the idea to use glaze and gradients of color as a way to add light and contrast to my work. It follows the movement of the form and therefore contributes to the idea of progression or transformation. Also, its powdery texture gives the surface the impression of being soft, which is a bit unsettling. And it also reveals the folds and stretch mark on the clay body instead of concealing them. Next, please. A few years later, I was traveling in Canada, and while walking in the forest, which is very dense and fertile there, in contrast with a dry landscape in the south of France here, I began to think of ways to build my work that would echo the density and interdependence of ecosystems. So I started assembling coil-like elements of clay, and I interlaced them, knotted them, and connected them to slowly create solid entities. I was looking for ways of building pieces that would be both structural and express a movement. I like using coil elements because they refer to a very ancestral way of building ceramic work. They don't represent anything by themselves, but put together, it opens up various dynamics and rhythm and lots of possibilities for one's imagination. Next, please. I pushed this way of building pieces on more monumental scales in raw clay, like here, for example. It's in the old wooden kiln in Valoris, where I was working at the time. I have made several specific site-specific projects like this one. And in this temporary process, there is also an interest for the cycle of clay, seeing it dry, go from fresh and moist to leather hard to totally dry, and then I like the ability to recycle and reuse for other projects. I also find it interesting to adapt a form to its environment rather than the other way around. I named them terra movere, which means moving earth or earth in movement. With these installations, I explore the idea of monumental fragility as an echo once again to our environment. The form can look threatening, but it's vulnerable at the same time, at the edge of collapse. Next, please. In 2020, I produced this large-scale wall piece called The Fall, again in Valoris, where I was a resident at the time. I was interested in a more intangible link that can be made with our emotions. The form is falling like a water flow or a curtain, but it could also be related to a state of mind. You can see within the piece the shape and texture changing. There is this idea of progression until it collapses on the floor. The round elements at the top are glazed with this soft-looking blue glaze, and it slowly transforms into a shiny lump-looking flesh. Which brings me to the last image. Next, please. So Tanagra Metamorphosis, number 2, is the piece I'm presenting at the Faenza exhibition. This piece is named after the ancient Greek terracotta statues that were discovered in the 19th century. They represent female figures with beautiful drapery. Here the form stands vertically, much like a silhouette. Once again, it is exploring the possibility of growth, but in its movement, it also flows to the ground. Its dynamic is blending images of drapery, hair, intangible flow like water, feathers, or tentacles. Much like the fall in the previous image, I wanted this piece to mix elements of the organic world, the animal, vegetation, water, body. And in conveying various images of the living world, I am constantly looking for connections as if we were all made of the same substance. And I will stop here. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for the jury for selecting this piece.
Thank you, Claire. Thank you for sharing with us your work and all the ideas, and also the beginning of what bring you to The Fall, which is really a stunning pieces, and also the one that you presented and Faenza Prize. We understood how this evolution, also the fact that you add some differences also on the surface, the smooth, the shiny, and what now is something more sculptural, in the sense that it vertically deals with the idea of something that maybe is covered by your coils, let's call it like that, your colorful coils. But obviously always had a connection, straight connection with nature. So thanks again. And let's move, last but not least, to Sibylle Meier, when we are in Switzerland.
Hello.
Hello, Sibylle. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your patience. And your works had many things to do with design since your study in the past, and all your different you had a different atelier in different spaces, and so you had different products, different works throughout your life. But let's hear from you, so the board is yours.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm very happy to be here, that my work is chosen for Faenza. Thank you. And I'm happy to explain a bit of my work. The first theory from 2003 is the pairs. The topic here is communication, relationships. They have connections, plugs. Some have more access, some less. They are in constant interaction. I made wheel-thrown pieces and assembled them to these sculptures. For the photos, I put them in harmony. They are facing each other, but they can also be turned away, like we are sometimes when we are arguing with our friends and partners. Next, please. This theory is the species. Here, I invented a species with sensory organs. They can listen, watch, smell, or they have maybe even more senses than we have. They are living beings, that's why they have names. Here we have Julie and Agneta. I want them to look like being soft and moving. I want to seduce people to touch them. Like the pairs, they are planned. First I was drawing, made many sketches before I began to build them. Next, please. This is Herbert. It's also one of the species family. Next, please. Here, the next step of the species, I changed my work mode a bit. I shaped parts like balls and tubes and assembled them to sculptures. I didn't draw so much beforehand. That was an interesting change to a bit more intuitive work mode. Next, please. After some years, I went on with the species theory and made another change. I was looking for another appearance. I wanted them to look like melted. So I worked with porcelain to exploit the deformations from the firing. Yeah, in the end, they didn't deform so much, but they did. They are again a bit different built. I started from the bottom and worked with coils, made round after round. Next, please. Now, this is the selected work from the series Lichen. We have categorized living things. I am interested in where it is unclear, where we are not sure whether a living being is an animal, a plant, or a fungus. I'm most interested in fungus. My sculpture here is inspired by lichens. Like them, it consists of two parts that need each other to exist. A lichen consists of two living beings. It's a symbiosis of a fungus and an algae, or a bacteria. They are very mysterious, grow incredibly slowly, are very persistent, survive years of drought, for example, and come back to life thanks to moisture. It's still a being, it still has a name, it's Gustav. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sibylle, for your precise presentation, and thanks for sharing such good ideas, also from your past, from more than 20 years ago. So really a good evolution of your work that deals with human nature and nature itself. And this last series, the Lichen, as you said, the symbiosis, the fact that different type of organic elements can grow up and build something together, and the resilient side of this particular being, it's something new for me, at least. But now it's time to see if there are any questions from the public. So here we go again all together. Okay. Let's see. Hello, everyone. Okay. So, as at the moment I cannot see any question from everyone who's streaming or looking at us. Anyway, if you have any question, if you have any curiosity, also you as artist, now it's the chance to ask or say, to add something to what you already said. Feel free to talk. Okay, hello Migl. Okay.
It was a pleasure to see you and your work. It was really nice.
Hopefully, when we'll be together live in Faenza, we can really talk about the different work and the different approach you have. Anyway, is there any question from anyone? Even on technical aspect, I don't know. Why are you using this? Why are you having that? I don't know. Okay. So, since I think you already wait a lot for your presentation, and I really thank everyone. I have also to remember that the next talk will be on the 2nd of April, will be held by Valentin Spetico, and the artist that will be involved will be Hanna Miadzeva, Paola Murray, Makiko Nagai, Nehiri Bakhareh, Fiorenza Pancino, Farbrok Payusova, Yana, Paolo Porelli, and Lana Rakanovic. So we'll wait to everyone for the next talk. Thanks again, Sibylle, Eveline, Nathalie, Evandro, Iosifina, Claire, Valdas, and Migl. Hope to see you soon. And,
thank you very much.
Thanks and goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank
Bye.
you.